You know, one of the AI writing sites that I talked about recently, Sudo, that's Sudo, Write, Sudo, or SudoWrite. That's Sudo, Write. That's, yeah, SudoWrite. SudoWrite. Um, I'm subscribed to the monthly um, payment plan, which is only the cheapest one right now is basically about $19, something like that. It gives you 30,000 words, and if you want to add on to it, you can. Just make sure you have enough in your income to do so. And the prices are not too bad. In fact, if you're subscribed, you actually get a discount, believe it or not. For example, excuse me, for example, the 25,000 words that you could use or you could purchase without a subscription would be about $20. With a subscription, it's 10. So that's not too bad. I actually enjoy that. And the other ones are a lot cheaper too. They're a little half off of what they normally would be. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is because I have two news stories, a third one upcoming, that SudoWrite actually helped me put together. Now, true, some of the wording is a little off. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have noticed that. That probably have read those stories on DeviantArt and Ink Bunny and archiveourown.org. I'm sure some of you have noticed that. But the reason I bring this up is because I know what I talked about, in the previous videos about about in this past week, of basically taking responsibility of something that I shouldn't have done, even though some would come out and say, well, what you said earlier in the past pretty much, rings true. You know, if you're paying somebody monthly via Patreon and they're giving you the opportunity to download something, as part of that subscription, then technically you've kind of bought it. And that is true. You technically have. Now, if I'm somebody that would do that, if I'm somebody that had that talent, then what I would do instead of doing the download is I would pick a place like Newgrounds or VENMO or BitChute or wherever, and I would place my videos there. I would place my videos there for consumption. That way, there's no chance whatsoever of them being downloaded, and people would have to be on Patreon, paying the certain subscription price that I've offered them to see these videos to watch them without hesitation. Because even if they do try to watch them, they can't because of the fact that they either need a password or something like that to get to them, or they're unlisted or they're private. Except for those that have the link, if you will. Um, but yeah, some people will say that I'm kind of in the right in saying that, but you know, be that as it may, I still am sorry for what I did. I still am very sorry. Lesson be learned on all fronts. With that situation. Um, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is something that I always knew was possible because even in Hollywood, let's be perfectly honest, guys. Let's be perfectly honest. In Hollywood or any kind of media, if you will, sequels, follow-ups are always going to happen, even if the original writer or screenwriting team, is not part of it. Sequels are always going to happen. And whether these people like it or not, they know that's true. Which is why sometimes when you do a follow-up or a sequel to a story they did, yeah, they might say something, but they don't really have much of an argument because all you're doing is just taking a concept that they, created with established IP characters that honestly they do not own. They're just using for fan fiction stories, especially of the adult kind. And all you're doing basically is just, you know, creating your own continuation, your own, further along the lines kind of addition to the story. And that's what I've been wanting to do since last year. You see, one person that did a story that I liked called Blue Krill 86. Blue Krill 86. On fanfiction.net, they did a story called Queen's Delight. Now, it's a very mature, grown-up NFSW Sonic story of the lesbian kind. We'll put it that way. It is a story of the lesbian kind. And it crosses over, essentially, Archie Sonic / Sonic SatAM, but mostly Archie Sonic with Sonic Underground. And the reason it crosses it over is because of the involvement of Queen Alina from Sonic Underground and her, her special, late night interaction with Queen Alicia from Archie Sonic. Now, Queen Alina from Sonic Underground is Sonic's mom in that show, in that universe, and Queen Alicia is Sally Acorn's mom in Archie Comics. So Blue Quill 86 decided to create a story to where they would have these two queens interact with each other, and like I say, in a very late night, very intimate, erotic fashion. That's what they have done. And all I can say is if you want to read the story, go to fanfiction.net. It is there. But, the ending, though, in my opinion, it got me thinking. What's next? Because apparently, I just checked something there. Apparently, it set up shop, if you will. It set up shop for a follow-up, for a continuation. And it's been over a year. Since that story was published, or so I think it was. And it's been over a year since I last communicated with the person, because apparently they don't want me messaging them or anything like that, or seeing any messages that we interact with. They don't mind that I, favor the stories, which is okay, I guess. But I guess they don't want me to interact or something. I don't know. Anyway, though, like I was saying, I read that story, and at the end, it felt like they were setting up for something more between Alicia and Alina, but we never got a follow-up. Like I said, we never got a follow-up. So instead, I decided to make it my goal to do a follow-up, and I called it Queen's Delight 2. And let's just say my plan was to, and I even put it in the synopsis, which you guys can read as well. My plan was to have Queen Alicia and Queen Alina become basically an item and go a lot further than anybody could imagine them doing, previously. Go a lot further. And when I'm talking a lot further, I'm talking, let me put it to you this way. They went into what is known as weird fetish latex territory. That's what they did. They went into weird fetish latex territory. And I'm not just talking weird fetish latex of the BDMS kind. Whips, and all that, BDMS outfits, if you will, or anything like that. I'm not just talking anything related to that. Like I said, whips, leashes, whatever. I think I put leashes in there. It might have been something else, but anyway, there, basically, when you read the story, when you read the story, and you can find it at deviantart.com, BVW 1979. When you read the story, basically they take it up on a whole nother level outside of, the weird latexing and all that. They do. How much of a level do they take it up to? I'll put it to you this way. There's a part in the story where they use a vac bed to go to sleep, to crawl under, hold on to each other and have it seal on top of them. That, while they're inside, getting intimate and everything, cuddling, if you will. And then after it seals on top of them, kind of almost freezing them in place, but still giving them movement, you have Alicia basically getting on top of not Alicia, but you have Alina getting on top of Alicia to basically give her more, intimacy, while having them both tightly sealed within the confines of a vac bed, if you know what I mean. But then that's not all. There's more, a lot more. And again, like I said, the title basically lives up to a lot of what it says, if not more so. I mean, we even have, ladies and gentlemen, a moment, and I put this, I put this into, I think, in the synopsis. We have a moment where basically, Alicia unbirths Alina. That's right, she unbirths her. In other words, Alina crawls up her, area and into her womb to the point that when she's in there, an umbilical cord attaches itself to her, thus making them basically one individual now and everything until she's basically released later on or something like that. It's a story to where my idea to take it to another level, thanks to SudoWrite.com, I was able to do that. I was able to take it to that next level. And that's why a lot of you are reading it as we speak. Now, like I said, are there some misinterpretations? Absolutely. Are there some things in the stories that kind of feel like, wait a minute, why is he saying it's this character, it's Alicia, when it should be Alina? It's one of those situations to where with any AI system, it's still learning and everything, and you just got to have patience with it. But yeah, this all worked out in the end. Now, they do have limitations, there's no doubt. SudoWrite does have limitations, especially when it comes to if you want to do the incense kind of stuff, but in a very hard way, if you will. And that kind of relates to one of the other stories I finished on there that I published as well with Rosemary and Tails, Rosemary Prower and Miles Prower, Tails, and his mom, called Rosemary and her son Tails Become More Than Mother and Son. And let's just say that story, takes a little bit of the elements of what the other story I just mentioned and really turns it up a notch a lot more. And I mean a lot more, if you will. And you'll have to read that to see what I'm saying. But overall, SudoWrite is a really great AI that's still learning, and I do highly recommend it. Also, check out my Queen's Delight sequel and Rosemary and Tails story. I think you'll enjoy them as well. But let me know what your thoughts are overall, guys, and I will talk to you all later.